What's good? What's going on, everyone? We are back after 24 hours. We are back. Me, Steve. We are trying to figure this all out, and we've had 24 hours to really dissect and think about what this Union team is, dissect what this Union team is moving forward, and those other things. And exactly, I don't know what those other things are, but um, in the last 3 days, we've looked at the schedule. We knew what was ahead. It was going to be tough with back-to-back games with the best two teams in the MLS East. You had Miami, and then you had Cincinnati, back-to-back. If you were thinking we were going to get a win, shame on you. And listen, in most parts, it is shame on me because I believe that this team had a chance to get right on Saturday. I thought they could turn things around. Um, you had no Messier, no Suarez. That was to me a get right game at home. The Union failed to capitalize on that. And then last night, as you watched our post game show, if you didn't, that's okay. But if you did, um, what a showdown!
No, it's
What a
not okay.
showdown!
It is not okay. It's not
Huh?
okay.
It's
It's
not
not
okay to
okay.
you.
Don't let him off the hook. See, I'll be the bad
Yeah.
cop here. I'll be the bad cop. You can be the good cop. It's not okay. I'll say it.
Listen, and it's usually the roles are reversed. I'm the one who's usually bad cop, panic mode, but you could take that on today. That's fine. And listen, I could beat them up as much as I want, and they should. Look, did this team shoot themselves in the foot last night? Of course they did. They shot themselves in the foot. We saw bad defense. We saw an MVP player doing what he does best, making plays. This is what Luciano Acosta does. He makes plays. Again, like I preached last night, what was he doing? He was cutting through this defense. If he wasn't finding the back of the net, he was going to find someone to find the back of the net, and that's what he did. He found Kelsey all alone, wide open, header goal, boom. Then he gets the free kick, boom. And then what he does, he cuts through the defense, making Jack Elliott look completely lost out there, and then he schools Ovler similar. And that would be your game. But however, to go to the bright spot, to the bright side, a diamond in the rough was found. Maybe. Maybe a Ty Baribo. Like you said last night there, Steve, maybe he's going to answer the bell for Julian Carranza. And maybe. And listen, a pair of goals says a lot. Says a lot. I mean, this is our only grambling hope is that this guy is going to be a playmaker moving forward. So, Steve, I'm going to toss it to you. How you feel?
Well, the Miami game, you try to forget, because when you have a match like Cincinnati, then right after, and it's hard to forget, the way you lose and the way you lose that one, and then at the very last minute, and not the very last minute, that was Cincinnati, but the way you lose to Miami at the very end on that breakaway for I always want to call him Leo Alfonso, but Leo Afonso. And again, what do you think about the defense, that back line? And Glesnes got burnt. The age showed there, where you think about if there was someone a little bit younger, someone newer, what happens. But then you come to Cincinnati, you go out to Cincinnati, and I'll be honest, the way they were able to equalize every single goal, and then you talked about it with Ty Baribo. It shouldn't have been a diamond in the rough. He should have been out there. That's the one thing that I feel like a lot of people aren't. I've been looking at comments. I've been looking about videos of people, clips. A lot of people aren't talking about, like, we could have been seeing this in previous games, previous matches already. So it's a diamond in a rough, yeah. But if you would have dug months earlier, you would have been able to find. You would have been already found this diamond in the rough. So imagine how many more points you could have had if you maybe would have had a lineup of Ty Baribo and Carranza. out there, but we're never going to be able to see that. But it's a good sighting for him to be able to see the back of the net. He got on the bench for the MLS team of the match day for Wednesday. So that's got to be a morale booster because I know that he was going through some mental, you know, uh, 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 issues with not being like, why am I not playing? What'd you have me come here for? Sort of
Mm-hmm.
deal. If you're not going to play me and everything, and Curtin would always say, oh, he had good training, but he's just not there yet. He's there now. So 89 minutes, I think he played total. Um, he was everywhere. He was running. He looked like how Sullivan. How Sullivan really sprints for the ball like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have another guy out there who's going to do that and not just wait for the ball to come in. So if you're going to look for any sort of positives from these two games, I guess they're still fighting. They're not getting stomped, 3-1, 3-0. But it's disappointing when you have such a good performance from players. Not even, we didn't even mention Bueno. He had a great game. He had a great
Yeah.
match. So, and he had some other opportunities too to be able to get a second goal. So take those things, move into Charlotte or at home, and hopefully can take those things and it turns into a W at home finally.
Yeah, and to go back on about Ty Baribo, right? I mean, again, a pair of goals yesterday. Again, he gets his first goal of the season in yesterday's game. I mean, like you said, think about how many games you want to get in there and finally make some noise, and he does. And like I said, it was a nice sharp goal he had. Again, they were focusing. They were again building offensive pressure. And one thing in the last two games, the Philadelphia Union have brought a lot of offensive pressure. The problem is they couldn't come up with a finish. Now they're getting guys who can start to finish just a little bit. And again, we had JD Walker on with us last night. And he said, "Hey, listen, don't give your hopes up. It's one game, no big deal." But in some regards, listen, you're playing against the second best team in the MLS on the East side. So in some regards, I do like what I saw. And if they could bring it, with that same kind of tenacity against Charlotte, who knows? Maybe they can make this nose stop bleeding. Again, this is your 12. You've only had one win in the last 12 games. I mean, I'm looking for anything to do a naked cartwheel, but you need some hope here. You need some hope, and listen, I'll take it again. And look at Albertsonly between the pipes, a rookie. A guy who this is really his first full-on year, which was intended to be a full-on year. Like you mentioned last night, Steve, he was tentatively just to study the Andre Blake playbook, and here he is getting full reps. He's starting. He's serviceable. This is a 1 year going with him. Everyone thinks he's this 20. He's been around for like 7 years, 8 years as a veteran. No. This is a one-time go-around. It kind of reminds me of the same Harrison of the Philadelphia Flyers. Everyone thinks he's this 6-7 year vet. This is the same thing. No, this is year one for him. He's still a puppy. Again, and people are putting a lot of pressure on him. I get it. It's the most important position in soccer is the goalie. And I get it. Has he made some rookie dumb mistakes? Of course he has. Yesterday you saw a kid pretty much shot from halfway across the bar, halfway, at the halfway point, makes a goal. Again, you saw the one play against Alfonso on Saturday. What's he do? He comes out of the net. Big mistake. A team like Miami thrives on you making mistakes. Luciano Acosta waited for him to make a mistake. Come out. They pick you apart. He's playing against playmakers now. And not every we're not going to face New England every game every Saturday. You're going to see some stellar competition, and this was it. So if they can just fix, like you said, correct your own problems, you'll be fine. You could have walked away yesterday with a W, but you shot yourself in the foot too many times, and there's a huge hole in it now.
It's like they almost need to play down. And that's what sucks is how many matches, I can't think off the top of my head, but that's how many it's not. That's the lack of having a lead. They
Yeah.
haven't been able to play with a lead many matches this season. And to where like last season, the defense was their strong suit, in previous seasons. They're not able to rely on that anymore. And so that's why you're able to see this offensive, sort of spurts where they have these games where, when they went on that 3-game win streak, when they won at Portland, they won at Minnesota, they won home to Minnesota, and then they won away at Nashville. They were putting that was what
Mhm.
2-1 Nashville, 2-0 Minnesota, and then I think
Yeah.
3-1 in Portland. So they can go through these spurts of offensive, streaks where they're putting the ball in the back of the net. So they're going to have no choice but to keep playing these guys. It's going to be, I know we'll talk about it later, the Charlotte matchup on Saturday, but it's going to be a very similar lineup minus Gazdag and Carranza. So you're going to have Kai now. You're going to have him. He's got some minutes. You're going to have Rafa. You're going to have other guys now who let's start mixing this up and see what the other teams' defenses aren't going to be able to react to what they don't know. So it may not be the new faces that we want, but they're the bench players, they're the youth that are there now. So use them and see what we can
Yeah.
get. Maybe we'll get another diamond in the rough.
And speaking on Ty Baribo, right? He's got a little confidence now, getting a pair of goals. If you can pair that on the field with the quickness of Mr. Sullivan over there, Quinn Sullivan, if you could compare, like I said, Ty Baribo getting a little motivation behind him, building some confidence, getting a pair of goals. You build that with Quinn Sullivan. Now you might have something cooking. Now Ua is starting to come around a little bit. So, and again, he's usually the guy who gets on the board first on the entire game. He kind of sets the tone for everyone. So if you get something going there, and like I said, you really just need to start worrying about the defense side of things. If you could really just focus in where you're leaving holes, because there's times where Glazins gets cooked. Jake Allett looks like a complete buffoon, just looks lost out there.
Old
and so forth. It's showing. So I mean, there's too many holes, too many glaring holes on defense that need to be fixed. And now it sounds like a broken record because look, you see it, I see it, the fans see it, the Sons of Ben see it. I mean, everyone sees it. I mean, this is what you need. And I wonder what happens during practice time, because if you could somehow fix that defense, you might have something there. I mean, listen, now we've slipped down to the 10th seed. We have slipped down to the 10th seed. We are now no longer a playoff team. So, and I get it. We're coming halfway up on, the season. So it's time to start to kind of get things right, and I get it. There's been a lot of moving pieces as of late. Again, of course, Julian Carranza kind of pretty much is out of here. Andre Blake, not healthy, all that stuff. Can't stay consistent. You have a goaltender who's pretty much, like I said, wet behind the ears. So Jim Curran is really just, like I said, you want to build a Ferrari with these old tools, and you want him to build a Ferrari from a station wagon. It's going to be a little harder than expected, but yeah.
What do you think of? We kind of talked about it with JD last night of Kai's performance, but we didn't really talk about what he said and how he called out management and stuff like that. So how do you feel, maybe not just in this instance, but like in other sports, how do you ever feel about players when they call out management? And do you think it's going to be able to like actually do anything, or do you think Ernst and Sugarman are just going to do what they normally do, and it's just going to be, hey, whatever, it is what it is. You guys already bought the ticket, so whatever.
And listen, the fans can sit there, yell and scream, but it's important when their own is hollering. It's just, will it fall on deaf ears, or will it wake up management? To me, it's like, what's the direction of the Philadelphia Union? Are we going to just be doormats for here, the upper, euros and all that stuff, or they just come here to window shop us and look, it is what it is, or are we going to try and make something here? I mean, again, I get it. Everyone looks at the MLS as AAA baseball, whatever, but not in Inter Miami's eyes. They're trying to make this the league. They're trying to make it the league. That's why they brought Messi. That's why Suarez, all this. They're bringing in playmakers, legit playmakers, and what the Philadelphia Union front office has it in their mind. Come window shop, and you have to start. This is God rest his soul. Gus called this a while ago. You have to start thinking different. The league is changing. They're bringing in playmakers. Everyone's looking at that. Maybe this is going to be the year. The league to play in the next few years. Who knows? But if you're going to think the same old way, then it is what it is. And this team's getting older. This team's getting it's getting banged up. And like I said, Wagner, hopefully it's called it out. The only way to me, you're going to speak to that front office and you want change, is they come out looking out front and they say nothing but blue seats. That's the only way to me, if you really, because hitting the pockets is where it hurts. So, but right now, we can only,
I thought it was like kind of like perfect timing, because it's not like he could really get punished because it's not like they had the players to be able to like bench him or anything. So it was really like kind of strategic of him to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to say it now, because what are you going to do? Bench me? Sort of mindset. And I was joking with a buddy of mine, and I was saying the Union are like that guy who has worked at the same company now for the last 5 years, right? And his coworkers have begged him to come to lunch with them on Fridays, right? But he brings a packed lunch Monday through Friday, every single day for the last 5 years. And that's the Union. The Union are the same guy bringing the same packed lunch to the same job. And the fans are the coworkers who are like, come out to lunch with us on Friday. And going out to lunch is that new player. And it's right there in front of you, the morale. I can't imagine what it would do for the fans if there would just be a signing of any player in the transfer window right now. But that, I was joking with a buddy, then I was like, that's what it's like, man. It's like that guy who just brings that bag lunch every single day.
Yeah, and it's true. Like they pack peanut butter and jelly, high C, and some chips, and they're satisfied with that Monday through Friday.
Lay's. And it's Lay's chips, like the yellow bag. It's just one of those. It's not even like Doritos.
Yes.
It's not even Doritos.
No, they don't go Doritos. They stick to the peanut butter PB and J. They stick to the high C. They now on Fridays they might switch it up to a cheese pizza, but that's gotta be like from the lunchroom. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So,
no toppings. Yep.
No toppings. No toppings for you. But yeah, if they don't start changing things around, man, I feel bad for this team. It's a shame because, like you said, this is probably the most passionate sports town in America. People, it doesn't matter what sport you play, you've seen it. Again, when this team was in a championship 2 years ago, that Subaru Park was packed with everybody on the field just kind of chilling, having a good time. And we go from that to this. To still a lot of questions and answers. Still people pointing the finger, looking to blame. Front office, players, talent, coaching staff, you name it. But I'm hoping by Saturday things get turned around. And if Ty Baribo, with all the confidence now, having a pair of goals, like I said, if Jim Curtin tweaks that lineup just the way I want it, with him, Quentin Sullivan, maybe you can make some things happen. And if they can walk out Subaru Park with a W against Charlotte, maybe you can start working on some things. Then you start feeling better about yourself. I mean, like I said, we're kind of looking up right now. We're looking up, but we got to climb out of this hole. We have to start coming out of this hole. Let me get into some of these. Let me get in a couple of these quick sponsors real fast, guys. Check them out if you're checking out the show. Great stuff as always.
If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. If you want to travel with the pros, then go to phillysportstrips.com. Philly Sports Trips features premium travel and tailgating experiences for the best fans ever the Philadelphia sports fan. Philly Sports Trips has self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights for Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and even the Union. They even offer day trips for more local games. Go to phillysportstrips.com, sign up immediately, and tell them EOP sent you. Do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2024 season, including the Brazil trip week 1. Jump on it now before you lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com and don't miss the next great Philly sports moment.
Yes, please, guys. Philly Sports Trips, that's where you want to be. Of course, guys, if you want to get on a trip, use that promo code EOP. Let them know, the guys that my man Vinny, who is the engineer, the guy who runs the whole show over there, let them know Edge of Philly Sports sent you. Guys, we do all the show, every trip. Eagles trips, Sixers trips, Flyer trips, Phillies trips, Union trips. I mean, they nonstop run trips, run buses, run airplanes, whatever. Guys, like I said, let them know Edge of Philly Sports sent you. But, of course, we got to get right into the crust of things. And here we are breaking down this past week. We've come to pass the Philadelphia Union. Yesterday, like me and Steve are kind of debating about it. You can take some positives away. You can take some negatives away. I look at the positives. I look at the fact that this Philadelphia Union team had really maybe 2 starters on the field and came out with a dogfight out there in Cincinnati, took that team down to the wire. It took them with seconds left on the clock for, Luciano Acosta, the MVP, the reigning MVP, to take this game away from the Philadelphia Union. I look at it that way. You could agree with me, or you could look at Steve's way. And Steve's not wrong either. This team shot themselves in the foot. This team made a bunch of mistakes yesterday. It was the W was at the palm of their hands. They just went. They let it splatter all over the ground. Putting yourself in. Listen, at the end of the day, an L's an L, and starts. You're on that airplane headed home back to Philly with a lot of question marks on your mind. So it sucks, but at the same time, I feel better than most games. I don't know why. So I don't know why I'm on this high there, Steve. Please bring me back down to reality.
Because you saw goals from somebody else. And I think you saw like a glimpse of what the future, maybe not like next season future, but at least in the next few games, because there's no choice but to play the guys who are there. There was a point where the camera panned to the Union bench, and it looked like you were at a Union 2 game. It looked like you were at a Union 2 match because of how many, you had Vasquez on there, you had Olney on there, you have Rick there, you had at the time Marcus Anderson was on the bench, and Donovan was on the bench, Rafa was on the bench, and it was just like, oh my gosh, is there anybody old enough to drink on the bench right now? Even if they did win, was anyone going to be able to celebrate?
Right.
on the plane ride back, and it's like, man. But you know what? I think it's because you saw a glimpse of what the next few matches could be. What after Charlotte, You got Montreal, you got at Chicago. It's upsetting that they lost on the road finally, but it sucks because it's like the last thing we were able to hold on to of like, well, they haven't lost on the road yet, at least. And it's like, damn, that's gone. But it's exciting to see Ty, because we've been waiting for him to score for how long to even get the opportunities. So we were able to see that. What do you think? I meant to ask you before the commercial. Do you think some of these things will change defensively once Andre Blake comes back and he's fully healthy?
Oh, yeah, because, I like Simula. Like I said, I understand they're a rookie, but if you watch last year, Andre Blake was screaming at the defense in front of him. Like, what are you guys doing? I mean, he had to get in their butt as the team captain. Like, he had to get in their butt. And it spoke volumes because at some point they did turn their head around. They played a lot better moving the second half of that season. So I understand. So if he's on the floor, he's a floor general. So he'll get command and respect of the defense in front of him because who he is and the clout he brings here. So, I see that being a big time plus for the Philadelphia Union moving forward, which they, again, they got a rookie goaltender who, like I said, he could take it as it is. I mean, this is a roller coaster ride. We're still finding out who is Avila Simla. What kind of goaltender is he? I mean, like I said, this is year one for him. He's starting to get, he's starting to see the stellar competition. It's around the MLS. You go from Orlando, Miami, who didn't have their playmakers. Then you go to playing against the reigning MVP, and you can see and listen. Luciano Acosta, like I said, 5'3", and my man is a bullet on that floor. He is a bullet on the field. He could just, like I said, find guys open. He's tough to defend. And of course, it kind of reminded me of Denver and Sproles when guys had to try and plant their feet, trying to come down and tackle him. Well, it's the same kind of metaphor.
Oh, man.
Guys are trying to get in place, trying to defend them. And before why you do that, he's already got vision. He finds someone in the back of the net. He's looking at the back net. He's looking at the open, his open teammate. I mean, Luciano Acosta is showing you why he's the MVP. I mean, so it's all about timing and all that stuff. So, like I said, the minute you plant your foot, he's already on to the next move. So, it's tough to defend guys like him.
It's impressive too, like watching him, and it's trying to, for show purposes and article purposes, I've been trying to watch a lot of the other teams' top players too, and really being able to watch him put on every single part of his skill set last night. It's, for the love of the game, it's beautiful to see. It's just you wish it wasn't happening against your team, but it is. He is his footwork, what he's able to do with such quick movements, how he's, his ability to cut and still control the ball. He literally made Elliott look like he's never defended. I mean, he looked flat-footed. He broke his ankles,
Yes.
it was that's the part that's frustrating, where it's like, man, it's coming. He's one of those guys where you can stop him. You can only hope to contain him. But I'm sick of going up against those guys. Every team has one now, except for the Union. Maybe we do with Ty. Maybe we do with Ty.
Maybe, like I said, that's the same grace. Maybe that's diamond in the rough. Maybe Ty Baribo is going to be that guy moving forward. Like I said, a pair of goals says a lot. Maybe it's just a one-hit wonder, and that's never going to happen again. So, but I mean, I find that hard to believe. I mean, because of the way he was down low making plays, he was right there. Whether he was ready to get the offensive rebound or maybe he was just getting a header pass, whatever the case may be. I mean, regardless, it's 2 goals moving forward. That builds so much more confidence into your game. Now you're ready to take on this Charlotte team coming in. Now you're ready to start. So, I mean, think of all that stuff. Like I said, they did take an L. They took an horror L. So, as far as offensively, I think they'll be ready to rock and roll. Defense, that's going to be the big question. Are we going to get the same broken record defense where they just leave glimmering holes all over and letting their opposing offense just score on them? Like I said, hopefully this was the wake-up call, because like you said, there's a playmaker on every team but the Philadelphia Union, and hopefully this was the answer to that. So, and like I said, I loved the fight from this team last night. I loved what I saw.
Yeah. Again,
every time that the Cincinnati would score a goal, we would answer back. So it's just shamelessly when the seconds count, that's where Miami came up. Cincinnati came up the better team. They just that was it. But I mean, and like I said, when I looked at this game on paper, I said, why is this even a primary
Yeah.
primetime game. This is, to me, shouldn't even be on the charts. This is going to be a 4-0 win Cincinnati if you look at if you compare paper to paper. But no, this Philadelphia team gave that Cincinnati team a run for its money for what they had on the floor last night. Again, Ty Baribo getting 2 goals. Kai Wagner being the quarterback from the 2-set piece, kind of getting Bueno into position for his goal. All those things. So, I mean, I loved what I saw from this team. It was just unfortunately enough. They didn't have enough to win this game.
And that's kind of like been a theme too, right? Like, how many matches can you go back and think of where within the final minutes they've given up a last minute goal for a loss because of the other team's playmakers? And it's a broken record. We'll keep sounding, we'll keep playing it, though. It's just missing that one piece. I do like Quinn Sullivan being a bench player. I do like him coming off the bench, what he's able to bring, that spark. I know this club misses Burke's energy coming off the bench.
Yes,
when they let him go to, when they let him walk to the Rebels, it was like, why? Like, and then you weren't going to bring anyone in to replace that sort of energy, and that
they bring in Torres last year.
Yeah, and you didn't even play him, and that's the stuff that pisses the fans off. You then you bring these guys in, and then you don't even give them minutes, and then you ship them off, and then they play great when they do get minutes. You look at Pereira for NYCFC. He's the reason why we lost that match. So it's you got to be able to bring these guys in, and I think now they're lucky because Ty was unhappy for a while. You could see it, where my season tickets are. You could see where it's right there where they warm up. You could see it. You could hear the conversations that some of the fans were having with him, and he would just shrug his shoulders like, "It is what it is," sort of deal. So it's got to be a morale booster to be able to see the ball go in the back of the net and getting the opportunities. So,
yeah, absolutely, man. It is a boost of confidence, and like I said, a lot of people have been getting on him and all that stuff. But like I said, he hasn't had much playing time, and this was his first time getting a start. This is his first time getting a goal. First time getting a start. First time getting a goal. Like I said, I was really surprised from what I saw from him last night. And listen, and I'm just hoping we get the same result coming Saturday, except for this time. Let's get the W at home. Let's fix the nose bleeding at home. Let's calm down the Union fans, because like I said, at some point, man, if you don't start racking up W's, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly for this team. I mean, look, it's getting uglier now. I mean, you got players going up front office, so I'm hoping they turn things around. But yeah, like I said, to pack in both games, though, the lesson we've learned, and I think that's, to me, the most important part is life. I felt like when I saw a couple of starters on Saturday's game, it was the same old broken record. I mean, they made some plays. They only lost by 1 point. However, it just didn't look like there was life. What I saw of yesterday's game, I felt like I saw life. And listen, this is what they had. They had 3 goals. 3 goals. I mean, when was the last time they had 3 goals? I mean, I've seen the life out of this team last night. I've seen guys once, for what they had on the floor. I just saw hungry dogs out there. I saw hungry dogs.
Yeah.
Offensively, I've seen some hungry dogs out there wanting to make plays, and that's all you can ask for from this team. Now, like I said, if they could just somehow, Jim Curtin and his defensive coaching staff can come up with some kind of shutdown solution, that could take us along for a ride. So, Steve, I mean, how do you feel? I mean, if they could just pack in some hungry dogs, I mean, am I wrong for saying I feel like there was more life in yesterday's game than I've seen in quite some time?
No, not at all. You get guys like Rafa who they're begging to be able to have their moment, who aren't afraid. You look at Bueno. He was the other. He had the other goal besides Ty's too. So you had 2 guys who people were really begging to put in the starting lineup or at least, why can't they even get serious, meaningful bench minutes? And look what they were able to do. So you get these hungry dogs, like you keep saying, who want to prove themselves instead of, I kind of almost sometimes think that I don't think the players are quitting on Jim. More or less, we already kind of know the outcome. The players feel the same vibe as the players, as the fans. They're human. So it's like, hey, I'm going out here because it's my job. There's plenty of days, I don't know about you, but there's plenty of days I go to work where I'm like, look, I don't want to be here, but I got to put the hours in. I kind of almost feel like that's what some of these guys are going through. I'm just here to put because I have to. What, Marshawn Lynch, I'm just here so I don't get fined, sort of deal. But now you get the hungry guys who aren't going to think like that, where it's, hey, if he don't want to play, I'll play. And I know guys are away for international, duties, but you can't tell me that they're not looking at this going, oh, okay. I know they didn't get the result. They didn't get the win or, the draw, but man, okay, I can play with that. So maybe now they get a little excited coming back, Jose Martinez, Gazdag, and those guys, when they get back from duty, Damian Lowe and then Blake, when he gets healthy, maybe it puts a little spark in them because these guys are hungry. Sometimes when other hungry dogs see other hungry dogs actually eating, it's like, I want to eat that too. Hopefully they get that sort of energy, coming in. So they need it. They need it against Charlotte. They have a stretch. They have a stretch of games where you can win. So go get some.
Yeah, and like I said to you yesterday, maybe this was a good sign in disguise. Like, this wasn't potentially was supposed to happen, but it did for all the right reasons for the Philadelphia Union. Maybe this was something that opened up Jim Curtin's eyes. Like, well, I could do something here. I can manifest something in this. I can, or I'll take the punch. I'll take the knockout punch tonight, but I'm going to come back stronger on Saturday with something. I'm going to go get some time. I'm going to get a little bit of time to go in a laboratory of mine and start looking at film and see what I can fix with something. Start putting the card back together a little bit. Maybe he has something dialed into for Saturday, like you said, and that's what it was. Guys who've been wanting to start for a long period of time, this is their opportunity. Maybe this is their opportunity. Hey, listen, I might not be here next year, so at least I'm putting on an audition for wherever to come next year or whatever. So I do want the Philadelphia Union to sign, but if they don't, someone's going to take a good look at me for next year. So, but yeah, if you could play like you bring the hungry dogs out, maybe this will wake up, the star legs on this team. Like, you know what, these guys want to, they're not here just like you said. You get some guys, just like a job. You get, veteran guys. I'm just here for the check. Those newer guys or those guys who want to make a mark for themselves, they'll go above and beyond. And that bench yesterday went above and beyond to make plays last night. And like I said, it's on everyone's highlight reel. Ty Baribo wouldn't make plays for this team last night, getting the first goal of the year, first and all that stuff. His first official start of the game. The Philadelphia Union were begging for an answer, and he came up with it. He came out with one, but two of them. He looked really sharp, and I'm really happy with what I've seen from. Like I said, they lost by one from Saturday and yesterday, but the difference maker, I just feel like there was more life yesterday. So, guys, if you're checking the show, man, tell me what you guys saw from last night. And me and Steve are about to get into a little breakdown of Charlotte and what they're going to bring to the table. So let's take a quick commercial break. We'll take two of them, and then we'll come back and we'll get into talking about Saturday's matchup.
If you get hurt at work, in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Cherry Law Firm is here to fight for you and get what you deserve. Cherry Injury Law is a dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. If you have been seriously injured in the state of PA by the negligence of another, and if you have questions for a Westchester or Media personal injury attorney, please don't hesitate to call. Call 610 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right. And again, that number is 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Great moments don't just happen, they happen with you in the crowd. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more with Sherry'sTickets.com and get the tickets you want. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 and share an experience that will live on. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. For that next great moment, save 10% by using the promo code EOP10. Great moments start at Sherry'sTickets.com.
All right, guys, we are back. We are live. We are live with you. So, guys, we just pretty much compacted the last 2 days of Union Soccer, but the Union Soccer, there could be a light at the end of the tunnel. There could be a light at the end of the tunnel if this team could play like they did last night come Saturday. But, however, when you look at Charlotte coming in, and since the last time that the Philadelphia Union had, faced them about 5 games ago, nothing has changed. Charlotte still sits in the 5th seed. Last time we seen them, they went 2-1-2 as far as the season. Again, they have 8 wins, 6 losses. Again, at home, 6-1-4. That's really, really impressive. But on the road, 2-5-1. So it's like the ultimate stinking, the worst home team versus taking on the worst road trip team, and we're about to see which one walks out.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. Now, I want to say I don't want to butcher his name. Outfield or something like that. It got a red card.
Oh, okay.
This pit. So he got a red card. I mean, he's a midfielder with no production, so that doesn't matter. But he's got a red card, so he will not participate in Saturday's matchup. I don't know if that's going to be a huge plus, but however, that could benefit the Philadelphia Union moving forward. And again, Charlotte walked against Orlando yesterday in a 2-2 draw. Now heading this way. I just hope this home lose. We can't win at home mentality, the morale of it. I hope that doesn't weigh down what we saw from last night. I hope this is this is we're gonna finally break this thing open. I hope they say to themselves, bring in Charlotte. We played the best of the best. Now let's line up Charlotte. We're not going to take them easy. Let's do our job. And one guy they have to look out for, who leads them in goals, is Kerwin Vargas. Again, 4 goals, 1 assist. So that's pretty much their playmaker as far as offense. But this Philadelphia Union team, if they could do with, like I said, they can spread the ball around, good ball movement, all that good stuff. Let's make some plays. Like I said, if you get that pairing of Quentin Sullivan and Ty Baribo, anything can happen. And with if you run the 4-4, if you run the 3-4, offense, you get. This is how I like to see it. Come Saturday, Steve, tell me if you would like to agree. You give me Quentin Sullivan, you give me Ua, you give me Ty Baribo as for your forwards, and then your midfielder, you get just however you want.
I'm more of a fan of Sullivan coming off the bench, and I know
Really?
I can see where you're going with, just because of having that guy and that spark. But I can see where you're going, because Burton usually does that. If he's normally starting, he's on the bench when he has these 3 games in a week sort of deal. Since Sullivan was on the bench for this game against Cincinnati, I can see him starting on Saturday now against Charlotte. I think there's a lot of fans though that are like you, where they're taking a lot of some of these as positive as you can take, away from these last few matches, between the fight that they have. They're not getting blown out. They're in every match. Curtin keeps saying that every post game.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are in every match. But I think the fans are really excited of who they saw scoring goals. And so I think that is going to be something that, like what you're looking forward to and what got you excited. I think there's a lot of fans out there too who are pretty excited for those same reasons, and they're going to show out. I think they're looking for something. There's so many diehard fans who are like clinging on for hope. I wanted to bring it up.
Yes.
There's 16 matches left. I've seen a lot of crazy things happen where you go on a 3-game winning streak. It can do wonders for a lot of different things. You got to get lucky now. What has Curtin been saying all these this home winless streak? We are just not enough. No luck is going our way. Imagine if some of this luck goes their way. Maybe some other teams start losing. You hate to say it or see it, but injuries are part of the game. It only takes one injured player on another team for a team to collapse. You see it in football all the time. When a quarterback goes down, what happens? The team usually goes down. So, crazy things happen. And so the Union just have to do their part. They got to play more team. And this is why I think having these bench guys who are now going to have to play starter minutes, the Union have been used to a lot of individual play. When Uwa does great, he does great. But it's usually only him who does great in that match. When Carranza is great, it's usually just him. When Gazdag is great, it's usually just him. And all those other guys go invisible when one person is having a standout performance. There really hasn't been a match where all of them clicked and meshed together. But every single match that the Union looked like a solid team, you look at Portland, and guess what? That was a game that Rafa started. That was a game that other players had options and opportunities to make a name for themselves and to prove, hey, I can do it too. Look at Minnesota. What's it called? Had to step in. Zemla had to step in when Blake got injured. The New England match. So just maybe all it takes is from these bench guys to help mesh the team and glue the team together and be like, hey, you're going to get yours, Uwa. You're going to get yours, Gazdag. Carranza, he's gone. So someone else has to step in, and maybe that's going to be good for, maybe that's the new face that the team needs to see, is just someone like Ty. I think the theme of the night, Ty Baribo.
And listen, he is the theme of the night. And like I say, when you see the Charlotte team coming in, though, again, they're 5th seed. Again, they're sitting at 20 with 29 points. And us, we're at 20. Again, 10 seed. But look, maybe this won't make us the hungry dog. Maybe, now we kind of fell back. Listen, there's only one way. I mean, you can still go down. But because after this, you got, like I said, the schedule kind of lightens up a little bit. You got Montreal, you have Chicago, winnable games, get right games, build confident games.
Yeah.
This could be a build confidence game. I mean, from what we saw last night, as far as offense, that could be a get right game. And remind you, like you said too, Steve, you don't have your top striker here anymore. Well, pretty much, and you don't have Andre Blake. I mean, I told you last night, yeah, they were going to go into Charlotte last night, or in Cincinnati. Well, Andre Blake, without Julio Carranza, and without Daniel Gazdag, and they were going to give Cincinnati a dogfight, you probably looked at me nuts. You probably thought I was crazy. And if I would have told you Ty Baribo was going to get 2 goals, you probably ripped out your hair. But he did. He answered the bell. Again, that's pretty much the end. The theme. Tabarino answering the bell because, and he did. He came up hungry. And we're all going to see, can that carry over Saturday? Can it finally wash away the woes at home? Can it finally do something? And that's all we want to see. If this team can finally climb over the hump at home and finally put this, we can't win at home, all the negative Nancy's that come to Super Park just to see this team lose. Believe it or not, there's people out there that just do that, just to laugh. They're the hecklers, all that stuff. But, I just want to see this get, put to rest. I want to see someone come up and make some plays. And like you said, it's now it starts with Baribo. And like you said, maybe it's going to be curiosity to see what Jim does as far as Quentin Sullivan. Is he going to be the X factor coming off the bench? So do you start Uwa, Baribo, and I guess you go McGlynn as far as forward work if you go that route. But I'm curious to see.
I wish. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I wish McGlynn showed the energy like what Sullivan in tied. Can you imagine what like the effort? Because he does, like, a lot of the time he just looks like he's out there and he's just like, I know I'm good, and when the ball comes to me, it'll come to me. But it doesn't look like he's ever really giving that like sprint, that extra. He's given 100, but is he giving is he really? Sort of deal. And so I wish he showed a little bit more of I care, when he's out there, because it looks like he doesn't a lot.
No, and you're right. And it seems like we all know about the talent that he was born with. We all know. We all know about the left leg that's deadly. But like you said, it's I'm here. If you it's like I'm not going to risk myself getting hurt because I think that I have a way more brighter future ahead of me. So I'm not going to get that more involved than I have to. If that's a good way of looking at it, like I'll just do what I have to do just to get by, but I'm not going to go above and beyond like I should be going. Or trying. Or he's just point blank. It's as far as defense, they know just kind of double team him, and then they don't have an answer after that because. But like I said, I'm glad to see. On the flip side of it, I'm glad to see Uwa starting to make some goals. He's been a lot more productive this year than he was last year, and so forth. So I'm curious to see what they're going to bring to Shard, or how they're going to respond after this loss. What Jim does with the lineup. How does he go back to the 4-2-2 or whatever? I'm curious to see what Jim does moving forward from here. It's going to be fascinating work because now if say what if he goes back to I'll put this guy in Tabarino, you come off the bench. What I think would be nuts, but it'd be nuts to see what he does with the lineup. So until let's get into some of the games at home. Of course, we're back into it. Steve, do you have a game to watch for Saturday?
I do. There's a pretty good Western Conference game, but the one that struck my eye is the Nashville NYCFC matchup.
That's a good one.
Two teams who are above the Union, and Nashville is kind of really turned around. They're I think in their last 5, there's only one loss, couple wins, couple draws. So they were really struggling at the beginning of the season, and they're kind of finding their form. So that's a match that I'm looking to keep an eye on.
All right. Well, listen, you gave me the layup. I'm going to go Salt Lake and LA Galaxy. That's going to be the game to watch out for me. That was, like I said, it's to me, if you get LA Galaxy and Salt Lake, two teams are really making some strides. I like what I've seen from both teams. Really, really good stuff. Now, Steve, I don't know what you're going to have down there Saturday because I know you'll be covering the game for Agile Philly Sports. I don't know what's going to be on the menu.
In the kitchen.
Whatever's in the kitchen. But for me, I like to go with a nice Saturday. I like to do some ribs. I'm ready to hunt down some ribs.
Dude, it's going to be like 98 degrees Saturday.
Yes, and I'm a
For this
barbarian.
game. Dude, it's going to be so hot because I think the union made an announcement like that you're going to be able to bring like bottled water into the stadium and stuff like that because of how hot it's going to be. So that'll definitely
Now,
be, I didn't think about that until now. That is definitely something that you're going to have to think about in a matchup like this where, it gets hot in Charlotte, but both teams are going to be dealing with the humidity and the weather on
yeah,
Saturday. It's going to suck. That's no joke to have to run around and play in.
yeah. I just hope it's like like I said, it's the weather's going to be a huge X factor in this game, and it's going to be who can survive it, who can survive under Mr. Sun over there. It's going to be like Mario Brothers 3, where that sun just follows every player on that team. So I'm curious to see what happens going forward. But Steve, in closing out the show, what is, first of all, give me your final thoughts and where can people find you, and of course, tell them where you're going to be at Saturday.
Final thoughts for Saturday.
Or I mean,
these
it could be
last
for
two
final
matchups.
thoughts. Or I mean, from this, it could be the final thoughts about the game, or for this past week, whatever. Yesterday, final thoughts.
Put the last two matches behind them. They played great as you can against the top two teams, not in just the East, but most likely in the MLS. Look forward. You got Ty Baribo now. He's got to start. Last matchup against Charlotte, 0-0. You got to get a goal. They have to win. This has to be, it can't be a draw. It can't be a loss. It's you've reached, you got to win territory. So I'm going to be in the press box covering for Edge of Philly Sports for the Union for Saturday night. You can find me as Soldier Steve 247. I like to do the whenever big moments happen, goals, yellow cards, stuff like that. I like to tweet it out in the on Twitter or X, whichever one you like to call it. Articles you can find on the Edge of Philly Sports website, and of course every Thursday here doing this attacking third, man.
All right. And for me, my final thought would be for yesterday's game. Luciano Acosta, reigning MVP. The ball on the field. Finding guys wide open, like Kevin Kelsey yesterday, gets the goal. Gets the free kick, gets the goal. Cutting through the Philadelphia Union defense, gets the goal. I mean, like I said, just being an absolute playmaker. Like I said, just finding guys wide open, cutting through this defense, getting the free kick. All that being said, the Philadelphia Union fought tooth and nail last night. You had Ty Baribo, a diamond in the rough, someone who needed to answer the bell, and he did. Not one, but put up 2 goals. Again, a thing of beauty. Kai Wagner playing quarterback from the corner, kind of guiding Jose Bueno to find the back of the net. Again, this game came down to the wire, and maybe this is going to be, to me, it's guys are going to answer tomorrow. Guys are like I said, maybe this just speaks volumes about to guys saying, you know what, we can do this. We can just believe in each other and believe moving forward. Okay, and maybe this speaks volume to, like you said, maybe this speaks volume to the McGlynn's of the world. Saying, you know what, if these guys are coming to play, I'm going to come play with them. Let's go fight this thing. So again, my message would be, again, Luciano Acosta just being a playmaker, a reigning MVP, cutting through his defense, making, like I said, getting the free kick, finding guys wide open, all those things, the ball on the field. But all that being said, Ty Baribo answered the bell, fought back, 2 goals, and let's see if he can carry that momentum into Saturday against Charlotte, and let's get this W. Finally, let's stop the nose bleeding at home, and let's get this W. So, guys, catch me, Pat Bernard, right here on X. Guys, have a good one. For me, Steve, we are out of here. Guys, see you next week. I wish my heel was on the clicker.